Cheers. Welcome to Badger Beer Hour, October 2024, where we're going to have a new segment for y'all called What's Brewing. Joel is going to talk about all the wonderful football and Packer themed beers that we have in our state. We will have news of, we're going to have volatile news. There's crashing in the breweries and lawsuits and people in jail and all kinds of things going on there. Landon and I will have the events. Joel's going to take us to the shore of Lake Michigan to see what kind of breweries are up in Manitowoc County. Did I say that right? And Chris and I are going to have a wonderful spotlight from a brewery that we all love. So let's just get into it. The news is next with my two favorite news guys.
Well, hey, Chris.
Hi, Landon.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Except, do you think that other people are mad that they didn't make Greg's list of his top beer news guys or news guys? I think he just said news guys.
Just top news guys. Yeah.
It's a lot of.
I mean, there are a lot of news people.
Can you imagine how sad they are?
Yeah. Yeah.
But imagine how good that feels for us.
That's it. It feels great for me. I started in news, so yeah.
Me too.
Just not officially a news guy anymore.
Not this kind of news, but yeah.
No. But hey, let's talk about GABF.
Yeah, let's talk about GABF. Last weekend in Denver, we had the big. GABF is a whole big thing. It's a whole festival where people go and sample, 600 little tiny beers and get plowed and make asses out of themselves at all the bars and restaurants all around Denver. But the reason we're talking about it today is because they have they have probably the most prestigious and awards competition that, at least the one that I give the most credibility to. And they have like hundreds of categories. They have in many of the categories hundreds of entries. So it's really the most competitive competition, at least for American craft beer, in my opinion. So, and it was the results were announced last weekend, and Wisconsin did pretty well. We got 6 medals, or our breweries got. We didn't get it, but our breweries in Wisconsin got 6 medals, which is, I think, one of the best showings for the state in quite a few years. I think Joel was talking about that. I don't really have any information on that, so I can't really. But here, we got a nice little graphic there. Look at that.
Yeah,
but we got 2 golds from 2 pretty well-known breweries in Wisconsin. We've got Third Space, our friends at Third Space, brought home gold for Pretty Good, which is an American amber red ale. That is that's a real solid dad beer, Landon. Real solid dad beer. Vintage Brewing comes in with another really solid dad beer. This is that's their Scaredy Cat Oatmeal Stout, wins another gold. They won gold back in, I want to say, like 2018, 2019 maybe, for that beer. And they might have actually medaled with that previously too. So that's a decorated beer and a really fine beer. I don't know if they do that year round anymore, but has been packaged and for the markets that get vintage beer in based out of Madison, of course. Third Space is in Milwaukee. I feel like we should say that. We've got 3 silvers for Third Space, Untitled Art, and Rocky Reef. In the categories you see there, this starts to get a little abstract. With the field beer is kind of like anything that has like pumpkin beers tend to fall in this category. Anything that has non like vegetable adjuncts essentially. In this case, cucumber and lime. They won for their blonde, which I don't remember seeing that as a seasonal release. I think that might have been a taproom only deal, or I don't know. Do you see any of that? I don't recall seeing that.
Up here, we don't get much anyway. So
sounds like a summer beer. So would have been over summer. And then Octopi / Untitled Art. It's Untitled Art brand. So it's interesting that they entered it as Octopi as well. I think this is the first NA medal that's been won in Wisconsin for the NA Oktoberfest. Rocky Reed, this collab category is one that they put in. So this is all kinds of different beers, and I think they put it in because if you have a collaboration with somebody, like who can enter it, who how does that work? And I actually don't. Do you remember what stupid Sticky Fingers was? I think it was a Scotch ale. This is great. I'm just Googling it like live on the. Yeah, that's great. It's Imperial Stout. Stout.
Joel said Imperial Stout. Yep.
Okay, he's so smart.
He's really on it.
Really doing his work here. And then Oliphant won for. This is they're up in Somerset. We know them as one of the zaniest ass breweries around, and they won for a markedly non-zany brown ale, an English style brown.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. One of the things I always look at with this is the competition in the category, and impressive that the American Red Amber was the most populated category that in among these categories that Wisconsin breweries medaled in, that had 124 entries. And to kind of give you a little bit, I think American Ambers are coming back. And I think in this a little bit of context here, Juicy Hazy IPA was the top category that had about 349 entries.
Yeah.
It didn't have about 349. It had 349. But some other ones, that's the very top of that. There are some others, like in some of the other IPA categories were around 100 some, 120, like 200 some. German style Oktoberfest had 210 entries. So you kind of get a sense of like how many, what the competition is. And like that's a lot of beers. I mean, to come out on top of. So that's pretty impressive. The oatmeal stout category had 56. Field beer was 57. Jumping down to the collab, that was 95. And again, there's not really any unifying theme to what those beers were. It's just that they were, so it's kind of a little bit like field beer. I mean, field beers are all over the place.
Sure.
And then English style brown had 42 entries. The American, the amber to dark NA category had only 9. There was no bronze awarded in that category. So, it's interesting, but I think the NA categories are new either this year or last year.
Okay.
And there are 3 of them. So one is pale non-alcoholic, which is kind of the contrast to this amber to dark. So they just kind of break it down by color, which I guess whatever. But pale included like IPAs, pale ales, Kolsch won bronze. So kind of all over the place. That had 55 entries. And then specialty, NA specialty was the other NA category with 37 entries. Sours, grapefruit IPA was one of the things. So a little, I don't think there's a lot of real strict guidelines as far as what beer can be in what category. So but interesting stuff out of GABF. I think this is a good showing for Wisconsin this year. Entries have been down quite a bit over the last few years, and I think kind of using that highest. I always look at the number of entries in the highest category, and it's always the same. It's always like hazy IPA or whatever the kind of like mid. Not like there isn't. I think there is a New England style IPA that's like mega haze that has significantly less, or at least this year there was. But that this kind of category, something like American or hazy IPA, is usually toward the top. And I'm pretty sure that this is the highest. I didn't check this, but it's that number is higher than I remember it being in recent years. So nice to see that breweries seem to be comfortable enough, doing award entries again after a few years of pulling that back.
Yeah.
Not everybody, of course, but
no,
some.
Good stuff. So
pretty good.
Yeah, Copper State. Let's talk about them. They got
So I'm gonna do this one in my best TV news voice.
Okay.
Okay, Landon. Copper State Brewing in downtown Green Bay has been picking up the pieces this week after a car hit its building Monday night, stopping just a few feet from its brew kettle. Cut in with the brewery owner being very standing amongst the things and the vehicle struck the brewery's doors facing Dowsman Street, where only glassy doors and windows separate traffic from the brew house. While these images were shocking, it could have been a lot worse. Copper State co-owner Jonathan Martins tells NBC 26 that brewing operations will be relatively unaffected once the mess is cleaned up. Chris Strasner, Beer Baron News, reporting.
If this magazine thing doesn't work out for you,
oh come on, that was horrible. Although I didn't practice it at all. No, I mean, for real though, I mean that's kind of scary. And the way this brewery is kind of set up, Dowsman Street is the busy street that's kind of facing. Like the main entrance is actually around on a different side, but there's like a Dowsman Street is pretty busy. Kind of the main street between East and West downtown Green Bay, or one of them, and it's if I don't know how this guy ran straight into it, because it's like parallel, but things happen, I guess. And
it is Wisconsin.
It's true. It was Monday night though.
It'd be a follow-up story, and it'll be his 12th DWI or DWI.
The good news is that it sounds like it's not a super big deal for Copper State, which is
that's
good.
Nice good for them. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the next story, I can't believe we got to talk about this again. We talk about it every month, it seems.
When you guys put this in the chat today, I was like, I cannot believe this. Okay, so but this is gonna my takeaway on this is gonna surprise you, I think. Okay, well, we'll just say it.
Yeah,
Kirk Bankstead, owner of Minocqua Brewing Company, was arrested yesterday on criminal charges relating to defamation. So. The tricky thing is here. Okay, well, let's unravel this. We don't know what this is actually about because nobody's seen a criminal complaint. He has not been officially charged yet. That's not all that unusual that there might be an arrest and like a booking. He was never in jail. He might have been processed and he's just released. Right. So it's not like he's in jail. But it's not unusual for an arrest to happen before an official charge. What we think that this is probably related to is one of the last big dust-ups that Mr. Bankstead was involved in was the defamation suit that was brought. This is a civil lawsuit, so yep. A private citizen suing another private citizen or business, whatever. This case involved stuff that Bankstead had posted about Greg Walker, who is the owner and publisher of the Lakeland Times. Yep. So it was kind of a man bites dog situation where the newspaper sued a private citizen for defamation and libel over posts that he made about kind of disparaging the newspaper. But I think where it hit the fan was he was talking about Walker basically letting his brother die after a hunting accident when Bankstead or when Walker was just a teenager. Yeah. He accused Walker of watching his brother die so that he could inherit the Lakeland Times, the newspaper.
Sure.
So he lost that defamation suit. It is the largest settlement. He was I think he was ordered to pay $750,000 to the Lakeland Times, which is probably the largest. Like newspapers aren't doing great right now, so it's probably a lot of money. Right. But it's so there is a criminal. So we know that this happened. This is settled in a court of law.
Yep.
The jury did not convict Bankstead, but they agreed with Greg Walker's lawyers and said that he said these things and it was defamation and all this. There is a criminal defamation statute in Wisconsin that is a Class A misdemeanor. It's up to like the punishment for this is up to a $10,000 fine and 9 months in jail. This would not be double jeopardy because this is the civil suit was a civil suit. It's not criminal charges. This is the state seeking to punish the person who did the thing. We presume we don't know yet.
We don't know. Yep.
But kind of connecting the dots, this appears to be what's happening. I have had enough of Minocqua Brewing Company. I think I can say that without my journalistic integrity being impugned here. Sure. I mean, it's just one thing after another. I have said I think Kirk Bangstad is an attention grabbing. He's going for attention. I think the way he goes about his business and the overt politics of his brewery. I disagree with a lot of the decisions he's made. This is a different deal, right? Like this is the state seeking to take his money and his liberty away. And that, I mean, free speech is free speech, and there are limits on that, but should he be in jail for 9 months for telling this heinous and unfounded story about essentially a political enemy?
Yeah.
And it also kind of gives some credence to the thing that Bangstad has been hammering for years, which is that this old boys network in Oneida County, where Minocqua Brewing is out to get him. I don't know if that's true, but I do know that criminal misdemeanor or criminal defamation charges are exceedingly rare in the state of Wisconsin.
Sure.
The whole thing is pretty problematic. I don't know that we've had anything recently that would see the light of day to be challenged in court and rendered therefore, the way laws work is they have to be challenged in court to be rendered unconstitutional. Yeah. And if nobody uses this law, then it's never going to, it'll stay on the books. Just that, that's typically how it works, unless somebody is proactive and cleans up the statutes, which is not very common. So, bro, I don't know. Like, I don't like, is he already playing the martyr card for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Does it play directly into what he wants and the way that he wants to portray himself? 100%.
Yeah.
But this one is different, Landon. Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
he's doing
a great job of staying in the news. So whatever.
Well, this one, I don't think he had anything to do with this one. This is the rare. I mean,
from the outside, no. But
yeah, and I think my initial reaction to this was, well, you poke the bear 100 times, and what's the bear going to do?
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm so surprised that the leopard's eating my face, But like, I don't want my political enemies to be like prosecuted for what they're saying about me.
Sure.
And I'm not a political enemy of Kirk Bangstad, but this is not the America that I want to live in. This is not the Oneida County that I want to live in if I did live in Oneida County. This is like if this is what it looks like, it is dangerous and bad. I'll just say that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Okay, let's get on to a less divisive story, Landon.
Yeah. Well, let's
you got anything with labor unions? Labor unions and big beer?
Yeah. Labor unions. That'll really. This ends well though. We can talk about labor unions but it ends well.
Oh man, putting up the Journal Sentinel story instead of the Milwaukee Magazine story? Greg, you're killing me here. It's all right.
He's got to get
At
some
least
love.
they have the story that it ended. Okay, so Machinists at the long time, we know it as the Miller Brewery in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Went on strike in early October. This is not the brewery workers. This is just the machinists. So it's like 43 members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. They went on strike in early October. Kind of your garden variety labor dispute reasons. Work shift out. Well, I should say this didn't seem to be about wages. They didn't talk a lot about wages. I can't imagine that wasn't a thing. But when the union chief talked to our Milwaukee Magazine's reporter, Rich Revito, about this, they talked about work shift hours, weekend hours, rotation shifts, blackout dates for vacation. They kind of framed it as like attacks on benefits and work-life balance, which is interesting. So, and other things that they told us during this time was it's kind of an interesting look inside the brewery. If you go to my Twitter account and kind of scroll down a couple of weeks, you'll see the story that Rich wrote, and it's interesting. It's like you kind of get inside the operations and management of a really big brewery, obviously, and they talk about like some of these guys have been there like 20 years or longer, and they're seeing, so they're kind of speaking from the long view. And it's interesting, like they talk pretty positive, like they talk pretty positively generally, or I keep saying they, but I mean this is like the union, the union, the head union rep for this group. They talk pretty positively about like the kind of the culture, and I mean this kind of stuff could get really ugly, and they were like, this is a good company to work for generally. It's just that they felt like the head count had been slipping, and these are the people who are like fixing stuff and expediting, whatever, all that stuff. And then and the work the work is probably increasing, if anything, or it's not going down. So you can kind of empathize with that. Good news, this as you can see there, this strike was resolved yesterday with a new contract. Neither the statement from the company nor from the union really said much about this. Is kind of how it works. It's like everybody's
right.
And honestly, the brewery didn't say much. They don't say anything when there's a strike on. They say, we're working on it, and that's pretty much what they say. But yeah, so I mean, I guess the issues were resolved to satisfaction, and hopefully, the brewery did say that work is continuing, and it's again 43 out of I think several hundred workers who are at that brewery. So
sure,
good news, I guess.
Good. Yeah. We'll call that.
Hopefully, they don't have to strike in the first place. I don't know.
Right.
Okay. But Landon, that's all I got.
Yeah, we'll bring on Joel.
Yeah. See, I didn't do it this time.
Good job. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and I don't actually have a Badger Beer Hour True Report this month because we were pretty quiet on that front. We did not have openings or closings, so we are holding steady at our 277. However, I am going to be discussing Asheville just briefly here to kind of provide some shine to the breweries down there. For those that don't know, obviously Hurricane Helene came through and destroyed that area, and destroyed is not an exaggeration. Right. My wife and I live there, and my kids lived there for 3 months during our travels. We made many friends there. We got to know a lot of people there. And it is very bad. It is still bad. I still know people that do not have energy. They do not have energy, electricity, water. And for the purpose of this show, strictly speaking, because obviously there are things bigger at play than just beer. But for the purpose of this show, there were several breweries that were damaged, and there were some breweries that were completely wiped off the map, where you're talking the building is gone, that there is nothing left, including one of my personal favorites, New Origin Brewing. I actually got to know the owners there. They were moved down there from Minnesota to, it's a husband wife. This is their only source of income. They moved down there to start this brewery, and we're making, in my opinion, some of the best beer in Asheville, which is saying a lot.
Wow.
If you're talking just strictly speaking beer. And they were one of the breweries along one of the river, like smaller rivers that kind of runs along there that completely escaped the bank and just washed everything away. And they were not the only one. There's another brewery right down the street that encountered the same fate. There are several other breweries kind of around that region that were also fully destroyed. And there were several breweries in Asheville that, although still standing, encountered significant damage that has not enabled them to reopen. Some just simply, like I said, I think I just saw one posted, I think a day or two ago, that they are just now opening now. They finally got running water again. And they were just in the process of basically trying to clean everything up, for the last several weeks. So Greg is, I don't know if the slide,
I cannot imagine floodwater is real good for brewing system. I mean, like,
there we go.
Like,
so I am
replacing everything here. Probably. I'm assuming.
Yeah. And so I know that in New Origin's case, they actually were able to find, like, I think one or two of their brew kettles like washed on the river, and they're removing it from the river. And like, they had cranes out there trying to get some, but if you go, I think, yes, here. So this is the New Origin. That's where the building was. And they put the keg there. It's gone. Like, there's nothing. And so I was able to find, and there may be more now, but there were 3 breweries. The main one is, New Origin is the one that it's just gone. And so they have the GoFundMe there for New Origin. And then Asheville Music Hall, French Broad Brewery, they had insane floodwaters that caused a ton of damage, I know. And then the other one is Dissolver Brewing, trying to support their staff because they have been closed. So Dissolver is located downtown. They were my 800th brewery. They treated me so well. Owners are amazing people, and they have actually been shut down, and they have been acting as both a donation and distribution point for basically essential goods for the entire community throughout this entire process. So any support that can go their way is, would be ideal. And then I also had on here that there's a new beer coming out. I'm trying to remember now who is making this. Is it Highland? I think it might be Highland Brewing. Let me see here. Oh, no, it's Dissolver. Yeah, Dissolver is the one who started this off. And it's similar to, you've seen these before. Sierra Nevada made one when there was the forest fires. Basically, they're calling on breweries they will give them, the recipe for this and, try to get ingredients at cost or whatever. And then any profits from the beer be donated back into the Asheville community. And besides the beer, obviously, if you go and look online, there's a lot of places that you can, donate money, donate goods to the communities down there. I am just hoping, like I said, we have friends down there, and it has been very bad. And I don't think it's been getting the proper coverage because, again, like, things are just very off in a lot of ways. But yeah, it is very unfortunate. I am hoping that the breweries are able to rebuild, and a lot of the breweries are able to just reopen, the ones that are still there. But yeah, so the little bit of a somber note there, but it is very important, I think, to talk about, even though it's not Wisconsin breweries, because, the craft beer community really does support one another, and it's all one big community. It really is. And, when you see something like this happen to so many of them that they have to deal with, it's worth bringing up and mentioning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, and Greg put in the chat here that there are links to those on my Brewery Travels Twitter account, as well as Greg's Twitter. You can find the links to those GoFundMes and everything. So yeah.
Greg's coming on the news site. What is happening here?
If you're talking, Greg, we can't hear you, man.
So Joel, isn't there one thing I wanted you to point out is that there's a way for our brewers to get involved in this, right? They could brew this beer.
Yes. So then that's what I was mentioning, that brewers can reach out. Brewers can brew this similar to like when Sierra Nevada did this. So Wisconsin breweries, if you're seeing this, I don't know if any of you have had this come across your radar yet. but I am hoping that, maybe I should be reaching out, and everything. Because again, I don't know how far reaching this has gotten so far. They just announced this not terrible long ago. But yeah, so I do think it's a worthwhile thing. And we've seen this, we've seen beers like this do very well, and in terms of raising funds for causes like such similar to this.
Yeah, and it's not just to kind of like, this is not that Dissolver is making this beer. Of course, their brewery's all messed up. This is a beer that they built a recipe for and are open sourcing with, breweries across the country who want to make it, serve it, sell it in their healthy markets or whatever, and then get send some of the proceeds back to help out. We saw this with the big fires out in Northern California. We saw it with Other Half did the like a COVID relief
Eagle Park
beer.
Eagle Park did
Eagle
the one
Park
for
did the mental health awareness.
That one wasn't for a specific event per se, but it still is very similar, where they are essentially have this recipe and they're like, here, make this beer and donate the proceeds to a good cause. In this case, it's just linked to an event that the quicker the proceeds can get there, the better is pretty much the gist of it. So, but yeah.
And I would say if you're watching this and you know of anybody in the Wisconsin markets that are making this beer, let us know. We'd love to promote that on our various social
media. And if you got
channels.
any sway with them, give them a little poke to say, hey,
yeah,
you should open up a
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
You can do your thing now, Chris.
Oh, that is the Badger Beer Hour news for October.
Hey, and I'm back. And we are here with Badger Beer Travels once again. And we are going to the coast. And in Wisconsin, that could also be Superior. But in this case, we are going to the eastern shores of the state and honing in on Manitowoc County, which is surprisingly turned into actually kind of a craft beer destination, to be honest, which I think some people may not expect, but that's why I'm here. And we are talking about the whole county. In theory, all but one of the breweries are going to be in the city of Manitowoc, which is also, of course, the largest city and county seat. It's really kind of, if you're looking at a map, it's kind of in between Sheboygan and Green Bay there, along the lake. Besides Manitowoc, Two Rivers is kind of the other larger-ish town in the county, and that is where the other brewery is that we will be located, or that is where the brewery is located that we will be discussing. And yeah, it's a little over 2 hours from Madison. It's only about an hour-ish from Milwaukee, not a long drive from Green Bay. And if you're looking, if you need something else to do there, the Wisconsin Maritime Museum is located there in downtown Manitowoc. With obviously, I'm sure they have a lot of connections there with the lake. So as always, we need to start off first with the lay of the land. And we have 5 breweries to get through today, 4 of which are within a very short radius in Manitowoc. And obviously Manitowoc isn't necessarily a massive city to begin with, so you're not expecting them to be all over the place. But even in regards to the size of the city, these breweries are close together. So we have Pet Skull Brewing, Courthouse Pub, Craft Creek Brewing, Sabbatical Brewing, and Cool City Brewing. And the bottom one there, Cool City, you will see that is about a 13-minute drive north from Two Rivers, whereas the others are pretty much close to downtown. Sabbatical is just a little ways west of there, about 1.5 miles. And then Pet Skull and Craft Creek are a block apart from each other. And then across the river is Courthouse Pub. So we can get started with the kind of OG brewery in Manitowoc, but this just kind of points to the fact that they have not, Manitowoc has not been a big player in the craft scene up until kind of more recently. Pet Skull, when they opened in 2017, they were the first craft brewery in the city. They moved to a new location in 2021, and that building was originally built as a fur and hide business back in 1908. So they have been able to breathe life into 2 new buildings there in downtown Manitowoc. So the name, obviously, kind of an interesting name and logo that you see there. And on the website, it talks about that Paul, the owner, had a friend who kept a goat skull on his coffee table. And apparently I thought it was pretty metal. And they joked about the fact that he had a pet skull, like 2 words. It was a pet skull, I guess. And he thought that was at one point, that's just decided that was going to be the brewery's name. They liked it. And this place is definitely, you know, got kind of the heavy metalish theme. They have a lot of live music several times a week. They've got pizza. And if you're looking at the pictures, if you're watching this visually, you can see Paul, the owner, there in the one picture. He's quite the character, it seems. He is always posting pictures, fun pictures of him and the beers. And they tend to be overall, I would say, a little more traditional in their beers. Some of their, you know, the Pilot Pale Ale. They have Frank the English Porter. They make a Dunkel. One of their big sellers is the Schnitzky, which is their Hefeweizen. That was also my favorite beer when I visited them. But they do occasionally reach out and do something kind of fun. When I just went and checked their tap list, they currently just released a beer called Silly Rabbit. Beer is not for kids. A fruited Berliner Weiss that includes Trick cereal. And I think I saw something that he was going to save Landon at least one can of that. So hopefully they can, you know, make sure that he gets to try it. But other than that, like I said, they tend to do a lot more traditional things. But yeah, solid brewery. And then a block away is Craft Creek, which they opened up in March of 2022. And they are in the space that was formerly Pet Skull. So the name comes, they actually got their start kind of brewing at home and doing some home brewing stuff in nearby Francis Creek, hence the name Craft Creek. And they have a couple interesting things about them. They have a partnership with a local farm to send spent grain to, which you always like to see that repurposing being done. They just recently, earlier this month, hosted their 3rd annual Hoods and Hops car show. And this is something that I don't think we covered necessarily in events last month. So this may be something to keep on the radar for next year. But you can see there in the bottom right picture, basically all the downtown Manitowoc, they turn into a huge car show and hops, and obviously have beer releases and everything. So seems like a pretty cool, fun event. And then they also host regular bingo, vinyl nights, etc. And they kind of run the gauntlet on styles. You know, they have your typical lagers that they call the Flabongo, I guess. You know, Double Trigger IPA, St. James Crest Irish Red. But then they also throw at you, you know, Toasted, a Cinnamon Toast Crunch Brown Ale. The Blue Uranium Berliner Weiss, I would suggest Googling that, Craft Creek Blue Uranium, because it is a vivid greenish blue colored beer, which is another one that we'll have to get Landon to try. And then right across the river from there is Courthouse Pub. So this one's a little bit different from the other breweries because, in my opinion, this is less brewery focused, you know, compared to what most people would think of. So the original building on the site was built way back in 1885. It was Frank Willinger's Beer Hall. When it was purchased, I think in either way, late 2000 or early 2001, they wanted to essentially renovate it, but it was in such bad shape that did not become feasible. So they tore it down and then built it using the exact same footprint, trying to make it, you know, as close to what it was as it was prior. It officially opened up in 2001. And the reason I say it's not so much brewery versus kind of brew pub restaurant adjacent is that currently they only have 3 of their own beers on tap. And it's actually kind of hard. You know, they don't have that many different options, but they do have an extensive food menu. And apparently their cheese curds are award winning and not just like, oh, like a local thing. Like they've won several awards for these cheese curds. So apparently you need to go and try those if you are in the area. They also have a full bar for cocktails. And then because I think they only have a couple of their own beers on tap, they do also have some guest taps and make a house root beer. Currently, very interestingly, if you go and look on their website right now, they have 3 beers available. And 2 of them are Czech Pilsners. And I'm assuming it's the same Czech Pilsner. And then one of them, it says the Patio Pounder, is the Czech Pilsner infused with raspberry limoncello. So I also know that they've made a Munich Helles. When I visited, I tried a raspberry wheat. But this is definitely a brewery that is more, you're going there for a full meal, you know, and to enjoy some company probably. So the one a little bit further from downtown is Sabbatical Brewing Company. They opened up in 2021. So again, this points to the fact of, in the last couple to a few years is when you've seen Manitowoc go from having 1 or 2 breweries to now they have 4, all right in the heart of the city. This is located in the former Oriental Milling Company and Earth Sense Energy Systems building. It's a huge building. It's a very cool space. It's very open, industrial. They host a ton of events, trivia, live music, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really open space. I really liked it. I think especially if you have a big group of people, they had a really cool gift shop too, just for the fun of it. And if you have kids, they offer complimentary juice boxes for children, which I think I may have seen that one other place before. And again, I've been almost 1,400 breweries. I think I've maybe seen that one other time. So that is a really cool thing that they do. I think they also have they offer like paid snacks, but I think they also have a couple free snacks for children as well. So they definitely, I know the owners have kids, so they definitely are marketing themselves to families as well. And I would say if you go and look, they do have some traditional styled stuff. They make a Kolsch, a Fest beer, but a lot of what they do is in kind of the bold IPA category and the fruited sours category. Double New England IPAs, milkshake IPAs, a whole variety of fruited sours with different fruit concoctions. And they also make ciders and seltzers. So a lot going on there. That is arguably, I think maybe my favorite there in Manitowoc. I really like the vibes there and some of the beers. But yeah, really good spot. And then we will cap things off by jetting just a little ways north to Cool City. And this is a place that has been on my radar since they opened. They opened up beginning of 2022, and I've heard very good things about them. And after doing a little more research on them, they have jetted up to, I really need to get up there. I was hoping to get there this past summer. It did not happen, but this place looks really cool. So it's located in a former bank. They also brew their own coffee, and they offer a huge food menu that includes food flights. And so if you are looking at the pictures right now, you can see that they have just an insane amount of food flights. They do taco flights, mac and cheese flights, cheese curd flights, soup flights, burger slider flights. And they rotate through. I know that apparently they rotate through and offer different ones at different times. They also have a large cocktail menu that they do flights with. So they obviously are really building this off of, obviously I'm Brewery Travels. I'm writing my book. It's called Flights Across America. I love flights. Having this food flight option with all these different things, I have not seen before. And I really want to go, even if I can't eat all of it, I just want to go and see it. I think that's a really cool idea to get behind, and I'm curious to see how it's executed. And I would say of the breweries we've talked about today, they actually probably have the greatest variety of beers, kind of covering just about everything. Because obviously I only list 6 or 7 beers, but they have a blonde, Italian Pilsner, New England IPA, Irish Red, Czech Dark Lager, a brown ale, an Imperial Stout, and there was a lot more than that too. Like they really are running the gauntlet on the different styles of beer. So yeah, this is definitely a place that I want to check out. Hopefully gonna get up there at some point. But yeah, so there is your little rundown on Manitowoc County. Like I said, it was only 3 years ago that they only had the 2 breweries there in Manitowoc, and they now have 4 in the city and another one just less than 7 miles north there in Two Rivers. So definitely a worthy little trip there for a brewery hopping venture. But yeah, as always, whether it's where you're living or where you're visiting, be sure to drink local everywhere.
Chris Strasner, unmute your mic, sir. I got it. I think. Oh, I can't. Welcome to
Hi, Beer Greg Spotlight. Washington is what I said.
Hi, how are you? It's Beer Spotlight is back, y'all. We're happy to bring it back to you. It's been gone for who knows. We forgot about it, but we didn't forget this month, and we're going to bringing you double the pleasure with Chris and I. Chris,
wow, that's
I'm gonna
quite
let you
the
lead here. Yeah, I'll let you
Really?
lead here.
I thought this was your idea. I thought you were going to lead. I got a zany thing coming in on the back end.
No.
Okay.
I learned a lot of what I know about beer from Chris Strasner, so
why don't we tell people what we're drinking first?
Well, yeah, of course.
The Glarus Black Top, which is a black IPA, baby.
IPA.
It's back.
Yes.
It's back.
So I'll read this, Chris. You can give me your. I'll read this, and then we'll both take a sip, and then you can give me your, and then I'll jump in afterwards. So if you lean into the IPA road less travel with black IPA, savor the triumph of a gold medal taste. I didn't know this with the original black IPA winner. Expect this beer to pour hop forward, jet black glass, brimming with aromatic bitterness. Brewmaster Dan skillfully weaves molasses and chocolate malt undertones. And soaring rush of clean citrus and pine hop notes ride comfortably atop the Blacktop IPA. Rediscover this brew the same way, Chris, you savor an unexpected escape, meandering over inky ribbons through Wisconsin kingdoms of corn, cool forests, breezy shores, and heifer manicured fields?
I guess. From Deb's brain to your mouth. How about that?
Amen. Whoever wrote this.
Well, I just want to say one thing right now.
What's going on?
I want to say one thing. That is not jet black. I mean, it is dark, but you got, at the top of the glass, you can see a little. Where am I going here? There we go. You can see little brown highlights here, but that's okay. That's okay. We don't want to quibble too much with the brewery's description of their product.
Cool.
What do you like? Do you like these, Greg? Do you like black IPAs?
Black IPA is one of my favorite styles, and they're not around that often. So, when I saw this come out, I ran to it. Chris, it won an award previously, right? Not this time, right? Because it just came out, or do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it said original. I mean, you kind of gotta. They didn't really give a lot of specifics there, but I'm kind of assuming that means maybe the first time black IPA was a category at GABF or something.
We would have turned for the black gold medal taste. So I guess he'll want to gold medal at GABF, but it wasn't this year. We can confirm because
that's correct.
Well, we just saw the list. So, so Chris, what are your immediate, what were your reactions to this? And
I mean,
did it live up to your expectations?
I think about I tend to think about beers first in kind of just like an overall thing rather than kind of deconstructing it, and it's a really pleasant beer to drink. Great aroma. You got a little bit of kind of like that chocolate molasses, malty action going on.
Mm-hmm. Gives a nice head too, y'all.
It's got that piney. One thing that I think people who don't like black IPAs really don't like black IPAs, and I think it's when it gets a little bit too like coffee, like the dark malts can kind of get a little dark chocolate, burnt coffee, kind of that. Once it starts getting its bitterness from the malt, that can be a real problem with a very different kind of like usually. I mean, when these were in their heyday, it was all Cascade hops and really like the real piney West Coast hops. I think those can clash, and I think this does a really good job of threading that needle really well. It's a soft, warm kind of dark malt profile rather than like, the kind of flintier, like an American porter type, which is kind. I mean, like the robust, bitter, high bitterness, high malt backbone porter, American porter, has some similarities. Dog's whining. Has some similarities to this style in concept. So I think this, and I think most of the black IPAs like that we've seen since the reboot, like there were no black IPAs for like 5 years or something. And when they started coming back a few years ago, this was the profile that they all kind of had, I think. Or I don't know that Black Top changed. My guess is that they probably just did it and Like I think that's kind of mostly what they do with these beers is that they just kind of bring them back as they were. I don't know that though, so maybe I should shut my mouth. But I think the problems, like maybe they were just the bad black IPAs just went away, and once the runway was clear to get rid of those, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to talk. You know what I want to do? Well, what do you think, Greg? Because I'm about to go in a very different direction that we will not be able to come back from, and it will end the segment.
Well, my initial thoughts were that it's pleasant and it's fun and it's hoppy enough for me, but I still feel that malt background, and I still feel that those chocolate notes. I don't know. Maybe I'm easy, but I love it. I love it. Now,
I heard that about you actually. So one other thing, there's another new beer-ish, another new thing that New Glarus came out with kind of recently that that we've talked about on this show before, but there's a new version of it. Remember the watermelon splash? That's exciting. That's interesting. From the summer, it's kind of like maybe a seltzer, maybe a beer, fruity hybrid kind of thing. Oh my god, you guys, baby, you gotta stop. Well, we got a new flavor. Ah, shit. I got the wrong one.
That's not a new flavor.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be so good, Greg. This is going to be so good.
We are completely.
You didn't even know that I was doing this. Okay, so the new splash, the new version of the watermelon, the splash is black cherry, and I thought, oh my gosh, that would be actually really good with black IPA 50/50. And I've never done it. I was gonna cuvee that and drink it on the air, and now I can't. Should I just do it with the watermelon? Or should I go to?
Where is it?
It's downstairs in the fridge. I grabbed the. How do I have one of those still in my fridge? What's going on?
You see how we work, y'all. You see how we work.
You get what you pay for sometimes, Greg, and
yeah. You'll see that on Chris's TikTok at some point.
Yeah, I'll tweet about it later. Anyway, we're gonna cuvee black IPA and
yeah, Chris. What I really wanted to say though, this is typical of New Glarus, in my opinion. It's a style less brewed, but it's brewed very approachable for people to enjoy it. So it's not, out there on the limb. It's not too hoppy. It's not too bitter. It's just, it's typical safe New Glarus. And I mean safe in a good way, not safe in a bad way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's spot on. I mean, the way that I always thought of every New Glarus beer that was coming out before I kind of like, well, they changed that a little bit. Like, I mean, IPA, the straight New Glarus IPA, the beer's not exactly like toned down. The Pilsner is a pretty sharp, strong Pilsner. I mean, but they're all, but the thing is, they're all well made, and they are all highly attuned to balance. And this is a very balanced beer, and that is the New Glarus trademark, I think, above all others. And this is a style that I think is hard to balance, probably, for those reasons that I kind of talked about earlier. So yeah.
Excellent. And since we are a balanced broadcast, we're going to balance ourselves on to the next. But Chris, thank you for
nice job. Thank you. It's going to be so good, Greg. It's going to be so good.
Thank you for joining me to highlight our beer spotlight, which again, y'all, is New Glarus Blacktop. It's available right now, y'all. It might be getting scarce. I'm not sure how much they brewed. I know that it was out there 2 weeks ago. People like me love it.
Yeah.
So yeah. You'll be able to check that out and enjoy, because it's, I don't know, this seems like be one that pops up here and there. It's not something that they brew every year. So if y'all like this, show the love for it, because then maybe Dan will brew it again. That's how it works, y'all. So with that being said, we're going to our new segment with Joel. It's called What's Brewing, y'all. And Joel's we're going to start talking about what's brewing around Wisconsin latest releases, things that we think y'all should highlight. A lot of people travel, like Joel. So sometimes when you travel, you can be like, "Hey, I saw on What's Brewing. I'm gonna go and try that out." So let's see what Joel has. And Chris, what's up?
It's pretzel time, man.
Excellent. Joel has a very timely What's Brewing for us, so we'll get to that. Chris, thank you. See you at last call, buddy. Cheers.
Hey everyone. So yeah, we're going to start off this What's Brewing segment, as Greg did a great job kind of leading into. We're going to, discuss some beers that we can find out and about, maybe ones that we've seen, hopefully are going to come back. But either way, discussing some of the beers that are around this great state of ours. And because we are just now starting to step into the heart of football season, what better way than to feature some Packer Pints? Just because there was, the alliteration there with the two P's. It's Packer beers. We're not, but essentially that means that we are going to be talking about beers around the state that are themed around the Packers in one way or another. Obviously, I'm sure most of you listening, at least if you're smart, are diehard Packer fans. My son's name is Lambo, so I can vouch that I am for sure part of that. Landon's trying to chime in, but we only feature beers that represent Super Bowl winning franchises. So unfortunately for him, he will have to wait until next time. So we are going to start off in the great city of Green Bay. Which makes sense. A lot of the beers that you're going to hear about are in Green Bay, because it should be known that the Packers are essentially are woven into the culture of not just Green Bay, but the whole state. But specifically in Green Bay, because it is such a small city compared to pretty much every other place that has a professional sports franchise, the Packers make up so much more of the city's culture than in a lot of other places. And I think that shows through and bleeds into this. When Greg and I were kind of doing the research for this, we kind of noted that it really seems like there's more Packer beers and football beers here in Wisconsin than in other parts of the country. It was not an exhaustive research everywhere, but that's just what we tended to find. But yeah, so we're going to start here at Hinterland. And if you have not been to Hinterland before, they built a brand new gorgeous facility right next to Lambeau Field. And so before the game, you can pop in and grab a Packerland Pilsner. This was actually first brewed after they won a Super Bowl, Landon, in 1997. And then after it went away for a while, they tweaked it, brought it back, and now you can find it pretty much year round now, all over. They distribute it pretty widely. I know I can go and get it here at Woodman's. So yeah, just a really classic Pilsner. I mean, it makes sense that several of these beers fall into that lighter lager kind of category, because if you're going to go drink beer to watch a football game, you're not necessarily going to go slug down some Imperial Stouts or double dry hopped hazy IPAs. So next up, we have Badger State Brewing Game Day IPA. You can see there on the can that they got, the green and yellow, white striping there on the side. So this one I just mentioned, it's an IPA, so it's not quite like, no, it's still a lighter style. It's a sessionable IPA at 4.4%. So it's meant to be enjoyed generously, I guess I could say. And it's got, I guess, is that the Zumba print, now that I mention it? Because it actually says there that the can art is inspired by some of our favorite historical game day apparel. So I think that's the Zumba pants design on there. But either way, hazy IPA, Mosaic Galaxy hops, just really, really, crushable, lighter IPA, if that's what you're looking for. They also, Zubaz, thank you, Landon, whatever they were. Yeah, I don't wear them, so I don't know the name of them. But yeah, anyway, Badger State also has, this is a really cool beer that just started coming out. It's called Gold Package Golden Ale. And if you're not a Packer fan, you may not remember that they used to play games here in Milwaukee at County Stadium. They would play, I think, 3 games I believe, here in Milwaukee. And then in the 90s, at some point, they decided to, I believe it was 90s or early 2000s, I can't remember. They moved all the games up to Lambeau. And because of that, they started offering this gold package, which was essentially a special season ticket holders for Milwaukee ticket holders that could no longer go to games in Milwaukee. And so this is a collab with Milwaukee's own Lakefront Brewery. And so it is a collab between a Green Bay brewery and Milwaukee brewery called the Gold Package Golden Ale. I have not had this beer yet. I very much want to try it. I'm sure it is just really good, a crushable, lighter style, although it is 5.6%. So slightly higher for Golden Ale, I feel like, than some others. But those two breweries I definitely trust to make a good beer. So definitely have my eye out for that one. Next up, we have another Milwaukee brewery, Gathering Place. And they did a collab with Cheesehead TV, which pretty much does Packer content year-round, 7 days a week. They're always cranking out a whole bunch of podcasts, shows. They do live streams, all that kind of stuff. And one of the big slogans is about carrying the G. And so they are brewing the Carry the G Cream Ale with Gathering Place. I believe last year was the first year that they did this, and they're bringing it back again. I had one, or a 4-pack last year, and it was very good. As it says there, the way they promote it, from tailgate to post game, you'll always be carrying the G when you've got this tall boy in your hand. 5.1%, again, easy drinking. Next up, Fox River Brewing. They're in Appleton, and they have Green Bay Draft 2025 on the clock. And so you may not know this, but Green Bay is hosting the NFL Draft next spring. And so this was originally brewed when the other draft ended. And I believe they may have it coming back. I have to double check on that. But there was multiple beers about this. And I am sure this is one thing where I'm going to tell people to keep their eye out. The closer we get to the draft next spring, there are probably going to be quite a few breweries, especially in the Green Bay area, that are looking to play off this new market potential, because there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people flocking into the city that normally would not all be there. So that will be interesting to see if we see other kind of area breweries look to play off of that. Stillmank Brewing, I personally really enjoy them. I got to meet the owners there, and one of their beers is the Tailgater, green and yellow can. And if Green Bay is not the best place for tailgating, it's certainly up there. I know places like Kansas City's got a good tailgating scene, but Green Bay is notorious for their amazing tailgate scene. So it makes sense that having another light blonde ale, 4.7%, called the Tailgater. Greg, Perky Porter is his favorite. That is my favorite beer from Stillmank too. Give that beer a quick shout out, even though it's not Packer themed. But yes, Tailgater, really good. Another crushable beer. Like I said, that was going to be the theme throughout this. And then Stillmank also brewed a beer, Green Bay Draft Beer, which sounds like, it's just like a beer on draft. But no, it is about the draft also coming. There was a news article about it when they first were making it. You can see the football and the cheese head on the can, or on the logo there. So I'm sure that they very well will bring this back. This was another light lager, 4.6%, that very well will be back when it comes around. Onopi Brewing, so they are located just a little bit north of Green Bay now, and they now brew Love Season, which is another session IPA, 5%, mosaic hop. So again, similar to the Game Day IPA, it is an IPA, but it's much lighter, kind of given the option for the hop heads if they want to kind of drink multiple beers while watching the game that aren't quite so heavy, both in terms of body and ABV. So I guess I should mention, obviously, if you're not a football fan, Jordan Love, current quarterback and MVP candidate for the Green Bay Packers, so putting that out into the atmosphere. They also have They also have the Hail Mary Hellas, which, means although he is no longer our quarterback, we did just see the Hail Mary expert, Aaron Rodgers, throw yet another Hail Mary on the game on Monday night for the Jets. But there have been many, many, many memories. Oh, Greg, just you asked me to do the Packer session, okay? Don't get snippy in the chat because I'm going on about it. Titletown Brewing. So speaking of titles, Landon, Titletown Brewing, named for the fact that the Green Bay Packers have the most titles in the NFL. So they have several beers, obviously, that are playing off of this. They have Johnny Blood Red, named for Packer legend and Hall of Famer Johnny Blood McNally. This beer actually won a silver at the 2015 GABF Festival. Green 19 IPA, named for the Snap Cadence, which became kind of famous with Rogers. And then Hallowed Grounds Coffee Lager. This is brand new. So this is one I have not had. I very much want to try it. It is a Czech dark lager, and it's a collab with Coffee Wizards from Appleton. So Hallowed Grounds is kind of a play on, they call Lambeau Field the Hallowed Grounds, but in this case, it's also referring to the coffee. I love Czech dark lagers. I love coffee. So this beer is definitely one that I'd like to get my hands on. I also wanted to shout out Canadeo Gold, which is no longer currently brewed, but it's another one that they named for a Packer legend, Hall of Famer, NFL champion. And then they also have several, I didn't, go into the full depths of them, but they have several other beers themed around football: Dark Helmet, Goal Line, Oatmeal Stout, Gridiron Glory Lager, Blueberry Blitz, all that kind of stuff. So Titletown, obviously, their logo is a football with the laces being some malt. So this is a football-themed brewery. Go there if you enjoy football and beer. Wrapping it up here, Three Sheeps Brewing, Armchair Quarterback. We're all armchair quarterbacks when we're watching the game. This is their new copper lager. I actually just had this. My neighbor picked up a variety pack, and it was quite good. Typical copper lager. And then finally, I will cap things off with Cheeseheads Brewing, which we did feature on the Badger Beer Travels a few months back. They obviously have a Packer-themed space. They have a Cheesehead flight board. They make the Lambeau Leapin' Lager, all that good stuff. So, yeah, that is, like I said, we have quite a few. We are lucky we have quite a few Packer-themed beers here. We may see more in the future, but yeah, I guess I can wrap things up before I make the Viking fan too upset in the background. So.
Hey, Greg.
Let's get that out of here.
Yeah. Jeez.
So my journalistic integrity wants me to give Landon equal share here to rebut everything that was just said. But I don't want to lose our audience because I'm pretty sure we have 3 Viking fans here and the whole so we'll just leave that for maybe last call or something. Anyway,
Landon, we'll go to the non-Packer themed events.
Yeah, actually, and yeah, I'll remove Brewery Travelers from the scroll there for you, Landon. We'll get rid of that.
Thank you so much. Oh goodness.
Yeah. Here we go. We'll do this for you.
That's
there you
better.
Go. There you go. So, welcome to events, y'all. We got some events going on. Real quick, I'll talk about this one. This is Monroe Street in Madison, y'all. And this is our friend Garth from Garth's Beer Bar. I believe is one of the main driving forces behind the Monroe Street Craft Beer Week. You can go to Monroe. I think. Wait, is the next panel? No. Okay, so you can go to if y'all Google Monroe Street, Wisconsin, or I'm sorry, Monroe Street, Madison, Wisconsin. You'll get to this. You can get all the information, but they have all kinds of events with collaborating with the local businesses, not only just Garth's Beer Bar, which is amazing and fantastic, and y'all should be there. If y'all don't know it in Madison, I'm not sure where you've been, and if you are in Madison, you got to get down there. It's just a really tough spot for me to get to. Not tough spot for me to get to, but it's right down by the school, and you can literally see Camp Randall Stadium from it. So it's kind of a traffic. You know how these universities are landing around them there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, traffic is a premium, and there's a lot going on. But other than that, though, it's really good times that Garth is and Garth's Beer Bar is involved in this. So if y'all in Madison between October 21st and 27th, check it out. Landon, the next one, you got us. What's going on with this one, buddy?
Yeah, so the Halloween beer hunt at Leinenkugel's, they seem to be making these beer hunts a pretty common thing. I think they started out with Easter as like an Easter egg hunt, but now they're doing it for every holiday, apparently. It's kind of obviously got to be 21. It's for adults. So they're doing this one on Thursday, October 24th. Start at 5:30. It's kind of a free-for-all. You do need a ticket. I think you can go to if you Google this or go to the Liney Lodge or find this event on Facebook, you can buy tickets through there. But they have prizes worth up to $250. So they have swag and all sorts of stuff all around the brewery grounds. And so it's just kind of an adult beer hunt.
Liney Lounge is fun. 365 7 days.
Yeah.
What are they? Liney Lounge is fun all the time. So I could only imagine that their dedicated, celebrations and different things that they do are just off the hook. Like, so yeah, I don't have to. We shouldn't have to tell much to the people that live near Liney Lounge about Liney Lounge. We're really talking about the people who
Right.
are, have never experienced Liney Lounge. That y'all should get there and have fun. I've had fun so many times. Only a few times I've been there. It's just far from me, obviously, then what, 3
Right.
hours away and all that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't 3 hours away, man, I would be here all the time. So check that out if y'all are up in the neck of Landon's Woods. Yeah, that looks really fun. So
Yeah.
on to the next, Landon. You have this one too.
So MKE is releasing Louis Resurrection, which is a barrel-aged imperial amber ale. So this is what they're doing for Halloween. And on top of they're having their 27th anniversary Halloween bash. So you can go and check that out at MKE Brewing. Louis Resurrection. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, from our friends from Eagle Park, basically. And MKE, has a strong following, giving who they are. So that should be fun. And it's good to see their beers back, of course.
Yeah.
So
Louis
for
Demise,
that.
that's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And look at this one, Landon. I mean, how do you not? I mean, I guess maybe the walking part is the drag, maybe. But
yeah, I guess if you want to feel better about eating bacon and drinking beer, that's probably the way you can go about it. So this is just a way Racine is getting people to come and explore their downtown. So they'll have 20 locations, beer in all of them. And then they're pairing the beer with bacon infused finger foods, and I imagine probably just bacon. They claim that tickets are in high demand, so $40 will get you into this. So you get 23-ounce craft beer samples, 20 bacon infused food samples, a free pint glass, and then a choice of a full pour at the end of the deal.
Yeah, here we go. And then y'all see the in red, y'all could see the link that you can racinedowntown.com.
Yep.
And then you'll be able to navigate that, or if you want to put all that in there.
Right.
But so 23-ounce craft beer samples. Okay. So that's 60 ounces of beer there.
Pretty good.
20 little bacon infused little sample things. You get a pint glass to take home, and then you get a 4 pour. Okay. Let's go.
Yeah. I just wish Racine was closer. That's quite a ways away from me.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit. It's a little bit of a haul for me, especially again. You also have to factor in. Obviously, you're going to a beer event, so it's not like unless you have somebody with you. It's not like you're trying to come back home for hours. I mean, if it wasn't a beer event, then we could do this. But like, y'all trying to stuff all this bacon and beer in me, and what am I supposed to do besides drink it? So, yeah, these are the dilemmas of a beer geek. Anywho. That sounds fun. When is this? Okay, so that's November.
2nd.
So we got but tickets are going, y'all, as Landon said. So you might want to dip into that if you're near there and that's something you want to do. So check that out. That sounds fun. Landon, you have this too. This looks.
Yeah, I wanted to get to this before December because I think I've heard about Frostbite quite a bit. So it's another way to get out in the winter, assuming that we have a bad winter this year, and we're probably due. But December 7th, Lacrosse Center, big event center, Between the Bluffs, Frostbite, Beer and Bites, 2 to 6 p.m. So was there another slide after this one? I feel like there was. Yeah. So there's all your ticket packages, more than most. Usually we get like 2 choices, VIP and GA, but there's all sorts of stuff that you can get there. Early bird pricing, lots of things. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, earlier pricing. As y'all see, we're already into that second regular price in there, and
Yeah.
then looks like at November price increases. So this is, I think, why this is part of the reason why Landon and I didn't talk, but this is probably part of the reason why Landon wanted y'all to know about this,
Yeah.
because now it's like looks like a progressive thing where you get, the closer you get, the more they raise the price on you. So.
Yep.
If y'all interested in going to lacrosse this year, y'all want to check this out. I do want to make a comment about this because when I went and I was looking, more into the details. I really loved, Landon, that they put the hotels in.
Yeah.
And they give you packages and they make it easy. And what ultimately that does, of course, that makes it easy for us people who, go to these things,
Right.
but it also encourages y'all not to be driving. And we need that in Wisconsin because we drink a lot of beer and we do a lot of driving after. And none of us can, as beer people, we as us four, and I'll speak for all of us four, we don't like that. We don't condone that. We're not for that.
Amen.
So, when you have packages like this, y'all, and I'm just talking to anybody who does any kind of beer festival, especially some kind of big one like this, when y'all put in those hotels, it makes it a lot easier for us to navigate this because, again, we're trying to get to the hotel and then we're trying to find, we're all, Landon and I, again, like we said in Racine, we're not trying to go to lacrosse and then go home. And even though lacrosse is probably an equidistant place from us, it's probably like 2 hours for you, 2 hours for me or something like that. Anyway, so this is this. I just really wanted to highlight this and actually sit on it for a little bit and have everybody see it and feel that this is, how it should be. I'm not saying everybody can do that, but there should be a level of, y'all thinking about us and thinking about the community and all that. And again, we love you as much as you can, but we all need to not be, trying to get home after that. And sometimes that's what it feels like. Then sometimes it's like, man, I would just want to be in my own bed. That's just not possible. So go your ass to a effing hotel. And so anyway, I'm done with my little lecture here about that. But
I think a lot of events could learn from this. If they had package deals like that, that'd be great.
And we also don't get to say on this broadcast enough about how we are for safe beer drinking. We are for responsible beer drinking. We are not for the fuck shit and the over drinking and the craziness and all that. We're not for that. We are for sensible, responsible people. We are all sensible and responsible people, and we want y'all to mirror us. So there you go with that. So on
Chris
that note,
Chris says he wants to come in. He's got something to say.
Oh, Chris can wait. No, he can't. Chris can't wait. You think I'm going to make Chris wait? Look, I already made him wait. You
can make him wait.
What's up, Chris?
I was just going to say, like, the rat. I don't know what the Radisson is there, but that Charmont Hotel is like one of those like old school, really nice hotels. So 4 people getting up there for a night plus 4 of these tickets, and
that's not bad.
And what is the other thing? It's like you get brunch.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good deal.
And valet parking.
Yeah, it's a good weekend for 2 couples.
Bet.
Yeah,
you bet.
Do it.
Yeah, and Chris,
what else are you gonna do? Like January, whatever.
Yeah, or it's what'd you say? I'm sorry.
December, whatever. What is it?
December. It's a December.
November.
Missed it.
Or
Okay.
December.
Yeah.
Chris, you had an event you want to talk about too, right?
Yeah, I could mention, this the Saturday before Halloween here in Milwaukee, there's a cool event happening at Busby's, which is a great bar, the former Roman's Pub. We've talked about Roman's Pub here. Mike Romans passed away. Rob Zellermeyer is taking on that legacy, and super good dude. Good people running that show, and they're doing a Halloween kind of party with like curated and like DJ'd horror movies. They're doing Halloween trivia, horror movie trivia. They're doing they've got hot box pizza up in the house, and then they're doing a Component Brewing tap takeover with I think they have 5 beers, 4 or 5 beers maybe from Component, including a black IPA called Blackest Eyes that will be, I believe, making its debut at that event. So that is Saturday, the 26th? Does that sound right? It's the Saturday before Halloween. And I'll probably be there, I think. So,
All right.
That's all.
All right. Cool. And that is your events for October 2024 on Badger
Nobody really
Beer.
knows how to do
I
that.
can't do it as good as Chris, but
I can't even do it myself. I did it like once.
Yo, what's up? Landon, it's last call. It's last call where we talk about ourselves because we talk about everybody else until this point. Landon, you have something to talk about.
I'm not really talking about me so much. I'm talking about Lazy Monk Brewing. So if you're a frequenter of the show, you know that I work very, very part-time down there. They are doing a beer for veterans. So they're calling it Veterans IPA. So this county malt group is donating $3 per pound of their special veterans blend hops to stop soldier suicide. So it is the only national nonprofit organization dedicated solely to reducing the suicide rate among our nation's veterans. So they this new beer is being brewed to support not only the Stop Soldier Suicide organization, but this will also benefit veterans here in the Chippewa Valley. So Eau Claire, Chippewa, this whole area. So yeah, it's a beer, another beer for a good cause.
Very cool.
Very cool. Joel, what's going on with you besides this? But just a little
Yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed it last time, but I've gotten the first interior full final draft thing, and I sent in the little corrections that need to be made. So I do not want to jinx anything or seem overly optimistic, but I'm hoping that next month, I will have some actual potential release information in regards to that. I am still waiting on a couple blurbs from people, not to put anybody's toes to the fire.
Hello.
But yeah, no. So I am also, for people, I will be putting it out there for all I know. I think I mentioned I was going to be doing a lot of different signings and events at breweries in Wisconsin and other parts of the Midwest, and that will be. You'll see that when it comes to happen. Right now, like I said, we're just holding and waiting, and hopefully in the coming weeks we will have more definitive information in that regard. And then I was going to share, hold on, to go back to what we were talking about with Asheville. Yep. Here. All right. So is it up there now? There we go. So highercallingbeer.com. If you own a brewery or you know someone that owns a brewery, you want to get there, this is the website that you go to. It's got kind of the information about it and everything. And then here, sign up your brewery. I actually haven't clicked this yet, so I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's just like a form fill out here for the brewery to do. And I'm sure then they will reach out and contact you with all that information. So
and say that address again, highercallingbeer.com.
It is highercallingbeer.com. And also, again, if you just reach out, it's Dissolver out of Asheville is the brewery that is spearheading this project. So again, that is just wanted to make sure that can cross the T's and dot the I's with that news piece.
Chris? Anything for last call?
Let's see here. We've got our current issue of Milwaukee Magazine is dive bars. That I am. I edited that package and I'm very proud of it. I wrote some stuff for it. It's actually my back on the cover of the magazine.
Ooh.
Which is the right side of me to have on the cover of a magazine if you want to sell magazines.
Well,
no, it's not like a butt. It's not like a butt thing. That's just like
I mean, need to clarify. You didn't show us the picture, so
I know I don't have one. This is the most ridiculous thing. Is mine got lost in the mail, of course. So that's exciting.
Do you know a guy that can get you one?
I have many. I just don't have them here. I was not planning ahead for this segment. Yeah. On October 30th, we're actually having a kind of a like a party event type thing for the dive bar issue at Mamie's on 33rd and National in Milwaukee, which is a fantastic bar. It's the bar that's on the cover. It's the bar that is the kind of the thread that runs through the entire package of stories and stuff. So it'll be like after work type thing. Come on out, say hi. We can talk about dive bars. I want to hear all the dive bars that we left out of the package. You can pick up a free issue at that event if you haven't seen it yet. So you'll have to read it before you get on my case about what we didn't include. But we did. There's only so much room. We can only include so many. So there's that. There's a pretty exciting story that I was a part of for our November issue too. That's coming out. I can't really say too much about that yet. Well, no, I can. I interviewed the coach of the coaches of the Bucks and Marquette, kind of having a conversation about basketball and Marquette. Doc Rivers obviously is a Marquette alum and has been really connected to the university for a long time. Shaka Smart is a great, super interesting coach, super interesting guy. And they're kind of bound together by Marquette and Milwaukee basketball. And it's really cool
they're
story.
both national names too. Outside,
yeah, totally, right.
They both have national pull from their past jobs and everything. So that is really neat.
So that was a really cool opportunity to sit down with them and talk hoops for like 40 an hour plus, and gave Doc some shit about the Bears before I even like was the. I couldn't even believe. I was like, "What am I doing? Shut up!" But that's our November cover story, so that's exciting. I don't know. That's it.
Cool.
Oh, and I'm gonna do my black IPA, my black top cherry splash cuvee on Twitter after this show sometime tonight. So stay tuned for that if you wanted to see that. That's the content nobody wanted.
Beer Baron After
Dark. I'm like, circle back. We'll do the thing. It'll be great.
It's what everybody's been asking for, really.
I know. People are like, when is he going to do the cherry splash
everybody's
blacktop cuvee?
Yeah.
I promised a friend he was very excited. Sudsy.
What everybody's really been asking for is for Badger Beer Hour to return to Twitter, and it will next month for sure via Chris's Twitter account. So that will be exciting for us too to get back to Beer Baron's audience, and we're working on other things here too.
Well, I see y'all. I know. There's Beer Baron loyalists in the group here. But yeah,
we're being seen live on our Instagram channel this month, so that's cool. We are always on Spotify. If y'all miss us, y'all can catch us on Spotify. We are on Twitter, as we said. We're our Badger Beer Hour. You can find everything on there. Joel and I also tweet everything that's going on, what's brewing, news, all that good stuff. You could also find us here. Here's our IG page.
Yeah, and I would add again with the Instagram is that Instagram is where I try to do it pretty much weekly, if not more often, that I am posting brewery events that are smaller that do not make the show on the stories. So if you are following, and I would check the stories regularly from there. I know the last 2 weeks I've posted a ton of different Halloween events. Just about every brewery is doing a different Halloween event. So if you are interested in following along with kind of smaller-ish events for what breweries are all doing, and then some of the bigger ones too, our Instagram story is a pretty wide sweeping, covering all the different breweries as much as we can in that regard.
And I don't have anything besides this wonderful broadcast that I do with these fine gentlemen here, and my Friday broadcast that I do with fine Doug there. I don't even know if we're gonna have a live show this week, so you'll see me. Y'all see me when y'all see me. It's all good. I final words here. Actually, I want to reluctantly give Landon time to respond to Joel. If you want.
I'm not gonna
Wow.
respond.
I mean, just point to the scoreboard. Just point to the scoreboard.
I mean, as far as this year goes, we all know how that went.
I mean, it's week 6.
Yeah, it was his first game back after an injury. You're right. We knew how that went.
Man, Green Bay fans are so full of excuses. My God. Yeah, you had a Hall of Fame quarterback that won you one Super Bowl.
Hey,
pretty
it's
good.
More than,
it's, 2 Hall of Fame Super Bowl quarterbacks.
I mean,
that won us 1 Super Bowl.
30 years.
You've had multiple. I'm pretty sure the Vikings have had multiple Hall of Fame quarterbacks and have never won a single one.
Rand Tarkinen was one. And that was it.
Did Culpepper didn't get in yet? Maybe he didn't. No. I guess
Culpepper didn't in yet?
No.
What is this?
No, probably not. But he was
in your lifetime, you've seen two Super Bowls. And for as much, I mean, and you talk about it like you won it every year.
I mean,
okay, we've seen 3 Super Bowls. We won 2 of them.
You have, Chris.
Yeah,
you've seen 3.
Oh wow, wow! Is that wow?
So, respectfully, I love this broadcast, but this might have been the most entertaining part of it. So,
hey, listen, my best friend from college is a Vikings fan, so I am all in on the Packer Viking trash talk. I'm all in on that.
Chris, maybe
think we've got 3 more months of this.
Show. We need, we're doing the wrong show. We need to do
we do hot takes.
Skip Bayless.
Yeah, we're in the wrong area here. I don't know what we're doing. Anyway, y'all, we're gonna get out of here.
It's the worst.
Just another wonderful month. Another wonderful month. A lot of hard work put into this. I want to thank all of y'all again for the work that you do to make this happen. Shout out to Joel, who's doing a book and doing all this. So big father vibes all day long. So cheers to you, Chris. You're out here being all magazine editor, and Landon, you were traveling the world and all this stuff's going on, y'all.
Not yet. Almost.
Soon. Yeah.
2 more weeks.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going after this show.
2 more weeks.
Well, whatever, y'all. Anyway.
We're expecting a lot of content out of that. The whole show can just be, Ireland content.
So we will see y'all November 16th. Or no. November 20th, y'all.
Yeah.
20th.
Actually, it's the week before Thanksgiving. We will see y'all unless we change it. But I wanted to thank y'all for everything that you do. And we'll see y'all next month. What's up, Chris?
Thank everybody for watching and listening. Thanks. Yeah. Cheers.
Sure.